Hi, for this week's video, I wanted to get into a definition that I'll probably end up using a lot of ghost in the machine or standard practice. Um, I know nowadays a lot of people are not really following the standard practices anymore. In the olden days, you used to have to be really careful on what you did to your computer, what kind of memory you put in, um, to make sure everything functions and it runs at the proper speeds, and you're not spending money on a product that technically will not work right on the system you have. There's a couple videos out there, there's a couple people out there that have done videos showing that, yeah, you can build a computer, you can mix match parts, you can throw in different kinds of memory and it'll run. But here's a big but to it. What are you hooking that onto? A system like this, compared to some of those systems that they have where they're buying the higher end, higher grade motherboards, can, and most of them should, work with mixed match components. But you're going to have a huge performance factor difference. They didn't go into benchmarking them. They didn't go into a lot of factors. Yeah, it'll run, but you may have the term I mentioned, ghost in the machines. I call it the ghost in the machines because it is completely random. You can have two machines built pretty similar, and one's doing something weird where the other one's fine, but the other one's doing something weird on something else. So when I mention best standard practices are basically the old standards that were out way back in 98, 95 days, that most motherboards really have not changed. I see certain manufacturers where they advertise 12 gigs of memory off of 2 memory sticks. I look at that and go, well, that's funny. Because if you follow the standard practice, you are supposed to actually match the memory you have. There's no way to get 12 off of 2 memory sticks. They do not make 6 gig memory sticks. They come in 4, 8, and so on. So what they've done is they put a 4 gig and an 8 gig stick in. I've actually run into problems on those style machines where they just do funny things. Certain things won't run. They crash. Then you have to go and tell someone, hey, this machine you bought, it's going to cost you, $400, $800 for more memory. They start asking why, and then, it says you can do this. You can do that. It's not good standard practice to do that. One of the other factors I see is some people don't really match up their memory. Yeah, most motherboards will function okay, but if you have 2 different bus speed memories, it will run at the slowest bus speed. So it's okay if you have secondhand parts that you bought in really cheap. You're just putting together a system to do some simple stuff at home. But for a business wise, you don't want to do that. You want to make sure you have the matching memory, because you'll run into all kinds of problems. You'll think it's a hardware problem. You'll think it's this. You'll troubleshoot. And next thing you know, you're replacing that system, putting a new system in, and the system that you pulled out, you think is junk. It's garbage. You've had all these problems with it. So you take all the components out, so you can use them for future repairs or whatever you need to do, future upgrades to other machines that may be the same model, and you find out at that point, hey, these aren't the same components. This is why you had these problems. It's really something I want to put out there because I don't want people going out and buying a new system because of a hardware basic conflict or incompatibility that randomly shows up. That's what I consider a ghost in the machine. Is it will be a totally random thing that one machine might be doing this machine might be doing that, and you cannot figure out why. Most troubleshooting tips and everything always refer to check your memory. Check your memory. Other issue you could have with memory is the slots. Some boards have 4 slots, and if they're not put in the right slots, you can have issues. There's a computer that I've worked on where I have 2 sticks of memory that will run on single channel. If I try to do dual channel, it fails. I believe it's an off-brand memory sticks where it won't support the dual channel feature. So that computer is just running in single channel right now. Not that big of a deal. Dual channel does perform a better performance factor than single channel. But it just depends. Do you really need that kind of a performance? Most people are okay with it because as long as you have the equal amount of memory size that you need, that you don't have to worry about running out of memory, they're okay. But that is what I would consider the ghost in the machine. Basically, manufacturer didn't do their homework, and when they did something to that system, or when they designed that system, they put in bad memory that was not technically supported by the motherboard. That is when it comes into do your homework. Some of these videos that show, oh, I'll mix match these memories, they're using expensive high-end motherboards. These systems that are pre-built do not have those high-end motherboards. A lot of them have a generic brand spin-off of another manufacturer's motherboard in there. That's why when I state, do your homework. Make sure what this says, your computer says, or whatever the people are saying, or even what I am saying, you have in here in front of you. That is a key factor. Because you may open it up, and I've seen it. I've seen specs, I've seen layouts, I've seen it. This is not the same as the manufacturer says this is. It may have been refurbished, it may have been a second edition or original edition where now they have a second edition or adopted platform that they've changed to that's more modern, and they're not showing you the correct edition that you actually have. So this is when I get into, you'll hear me say it, best practices. Best practices is to wear a grounding brace, make sure you're grounded, make sure when you put your hard drive in, that's why I recommend the longer dual mount, is because that's standard practice to mount your hard drive so it does not move. Solid state drives have no moving components. You'll find videos online where people literally just throw them in the case. They're in there flopping around, and you could do that, but Best standard practice tells you not to do that. Why? If that falls out and lands on your motherboard and shorts your capacitors, you can destroy your motherboard. You can destroy the drive, destroy your data, possibly even start a fire. So that goes back to standard practices. I just wanted to do this video because I know it's going to come up. I know I'm going to say it. I know I'm going to say ghost in the machines. I probably won't even catch it. That's part of the way I describe a lot of this. So this is why I'm doing this video now, is that everybody is aware of what I'm talking about when I'm talking about it. I want to make this simple enough that anybody can follow. Every home user, everybody can follow this. A lot of this will carry over to the business side. There may be some admins out there, some business people out there. Even if you're a home computer person and you're doing side work or you have a shop, this information may help you out. You may have a client that is having these issues. It's really a weird thing because you may take that memory out and say they're both Kingston memories. The numbers are pretty close, but they're not exact. A lot of people don't really realize what that all means. That's when you have to do your homework, have to do research, and understand what is the first stick, what is the second stick. You want to figure out what the differences are. Then you need to figure out what your motherboard is, what your motherboard actually supports. I know in the old days they used to have charts and graphs and lists. You could go on Kingston's site in the old days, punch in your computer, your motherboard, and it would tell you what is compatible. They used to have all these compatibility lists out. I'm sure they still have them. I know when I look, I go to the manufacturer site to try to stay with what the actual manufacturer says is supported. Because you'll have other memory companies out there that will tell you, yes, we support this model. Goes back to do your homework. Make sure it's fully supported in your model. Because the last thing I want you to do is go out and buy $800 worth of memory, $400 worth of memory, even $50 worth of memory. Put it in there. You get a beep code, beep, 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 and it won't start. If you don't know how all that works, I don't want to get you into a situation where you get stuck. And always remember, if you run into an error, reverse what you did. Make sure it comes back up. That is one of the factors when you do upgrades and you're not following best standard practice, is you can run into weird things. A lot of weird things. I know I've gone online and I've looked up some stuff, and the answers I've seen on it, I'm like, what? This don't make any sense. This isn't anything close. Again, don't trust what you're seeing online. You know, there's a lot of people doing YouTube. There's a lot of people posting stuff on these sites. Don't know how really qualified and how much they really do know about the real world practices. I know there's a couple on there that really seem to know a lot and they know what they're talking about, and they're more focused on gaming. I don't want to focus on gaming and overclocking. Um, Overclocking is completely different, and odds are if you have something like this, you're not going to be overclocking. This board doesn't support it, CPU doesn't support it, video card don't support it, memory don't support it. So that's another factor I want to make sure people understand is if you get into gaming and overclocking, none of this in here will work for you. None of it. None of it's designed for it. As a home user and a business user, want to make sure you understand that too. Anything in here is not overclockable. There may be some situations in a business, high-end graphics and stuff, you may need to do some overclocking on a video card, CPU to get better performance. Hopefully, they'll get to getting better CPUs and better speeds out that people don't have to overclock for business. I know some people that I've known have been overclocking for business, even for web design, just because they wanted to. But that's a lot of money on a lot of components that are designed to be overclocked, not a standard off-the-shelf PC. If you're a business and you got a lot of computers out there, odds are you probably have off the shelf. That's what this video is for you who deal with the off the shelf. I don't want to differ off of my subject here too much, but that's part of when I talk about ghosts in the machines or best standard practice. That you understand where I'm getting at from this video, because I know I'm going to say it a lot when I get into installing memory, installing hard drives, doing upgrades. I know I will be using this term a lot, best standard practice. I know there's a lot of manufacturers doing a lot of things out there that I think are really against the best standard practice. Mentioned it in the fan video that you may open up your case. There might be a spot for a fan. There's no fan there. To me, if you have the proper pins on the board for a back fan and a mount for the back fan, you should have a back fan. That's best standard practice. Why else would you design to have it in that case with that motherboard, with the power connector, but not put a fan there? That's one primary thing that I would describe as a standard practice. Of course, the wristband, static wristband, is best standard practice. I think that will cover it pretty much. Just make sure you hit the subscribe down below. Leave your comments down below. This is just a quick video because I know I'll be using these terms a lot. I don't want to confuse anybody. If you need a better definition, put the comments down below. I'll reply to you. I'll make sure you do understand what best standard practice is. If I have to type it up, put it on the Facebook page so people can read it, I will. This was just a quick little video that's not so quick no more, but make sure you hit the subscribe. I really need you to hit that subscribe so I can get more of these videos out, get more content out, get this channel to really grow so that it will even help you when you get stuck, because it's bound to happen. You will get stuck. Hopefully I've run across that and the content will be here for you to find. Because like I said, I've gone online, found a lot of crazy stuff. So, thank you for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe and come back next week for the next video. Thank you.